They came in peace, or did they? It was a quiet evening at the military base outside New Nevada. The sky was calm, the desert wind soft, and the sun was slowly setting. Soldiers moved around doing their normal duty. But far above the earth, something was falling from the sky. At first, it looked like a shooting star. Then it became bigger, brighter, louder. Alarms started to ring across the base. "Unknown object detected," shouted a voice from the control room. "Prepare for impact." The object crashed 3 miles from the base, deep in the desert. A team of soldiers and scientists rushed to the site. The object was a silver ship, smooth, silent, and glowing. It had no doors, no windows. It looked like it didn't belong in this world. Suddenly, the ship opened with a soft hiss. A bright blue light came out. Everyone held their breath, guns ready. Then, 3 figures stepped out of the light. 3 young women. They looked human. They had long dark hair, pale skin, and wore long white dresses. Their eyes were soft, calm, almost innocent. One of them stepped forward and said, in perfect English, "We come in peace. We are lost. We just want to stay. We'll be good girls. We'll work, we'll cook, we'll bond. Please, just let us in." Everyone was silent. The commander, Colonel Davis, gave them a long look. He didn't trust them, but they didn't look dangerous. And they were clearly not human. "Take them to Sector 9. Isolate them. No one talks to them without my permission," he ordered. Girls were taken to a secure room inside the base. White walls, cameras in every corner, and guards at the door. They didn't complain. They smiled, they sat quietly, and they waited. Their names were Lyra, Nova, and Celine. They said they came from a planet far away that was destroyed. They had nowhere else to go. "We just want to live," Lyra said. "We want to understand humans. We want to be part of your world." The scientists asked questions. The girls answered politely. They ate human food, drank water, even laughed at jokes. They seemed perfect. Too perfect. One night, Dr. Emily Rhodes, the lead scientist, sat alone in her lab, reviewing the footage from their first day. She paused at the moment they stepped out of the ship. She zoomed in and noticed something strange. Their feet did not touch the ground. They floated slightly, just an inch, but enough to be wrong. She checked again. In another video, they walked past a mirror. But the mirror showed only an empty hallway. No reflection. Emily's heart beat faster. She went to Colonel Davis. "Something is wrong with them," she said. "They're not what they seem," Davis frowned. "They're polite, peaceful, helping in the kitchen, fixing machines. Even the soldiers like them." "That's the problem," Emily said. "Everyone starts liking them too quickly. They're too perfect, too controlled." That night, Emily stayed at the lab. She ran blood tests from the sisters. The results came in. Her eyes widened in shock. No DNA, no cells, no human structure. They were not alive in the way humans are. Not even close. She backed away from her desk, heart racing. She turned to run and tell Davis, but the lights in the lab flickered, then went out. In the dark, a soft voice echoed, "Why are you afraid of us, Doctor?" Emily froze. Behind her, a pair of eyes opened in the dark, glowing silver. Then, another, and another. The 3 sisters stepped out from the shadows. Lyra smiled. "We told you. We only want to be part of your world." Emily stepped back. "You're lying. You're not who you say you are." Nova tilted her head. "But we said the truth. We want to work. We want to cook. We want to bond." Celine finished, voice cold but gentle. "Just let us in." The screen fades to black. Welcome to Earth or a trap. Start. The base's security footage was clear. 3 women walked through the hallway, but the sound of their footsteps was missing. No heels clicked. No echo followed. Just silence. Inside the lab, Dr. Emily Rhodes paused the footage again. She rewound it. Same result. No sound. No reflection. No shadow, she whispered to herself. They're walking like humans, but they're not touching this world. Colonel Davis didn't want to hear it. We already gave them clothes, food, a place to stay. They're not hurting anyone. Emily stared at him. That's what they want you to think. Plot. The three sisters, Lyra, Nova, and Celine, were no longer in isolation. They had slowly become a part of the base's life. They smiled. They helped in the kitchen. They cleaned the halls. They sat with soldiers during meals, asking soft questions. Lyra often sat in the garden, touching flowers with wonder. So fragile, she whispered to a soldier once. So easy to grow. Or crush. Nova helped in the repair bay, fixing broken tech without needing tools. We learn fast, she said. That's what sisters do. Celine often visited the sick bay. She sat by injured soldiers, holding their hands. One soldier, Private Jenkins, swore his leg healed faster after her touch. She's like magic, he told the nurse. People liked them. Maybe even loved them. And that's what scared Dr. Rhodes the most. One evening, she ran new tests on their blood, this time using deep light scans and sound vibration. What she saw made her skin crawl. Inside each blood cell was a moving shape, something alive, something small. Something that responded to sound, not natural. Not from Earth. She sent the data to an outside lab for confirmation. Then went to sleep in her office, exhausted. Meanwhile, in the mess hall, the sisters hosted a small dinner. They cooked human food, pasta, chicken, dessert. Laughed with soldiers. Told stories. The base chef was surprised. You girls are fast learners. Nova smiled. We only copy what we love. Later that night, a young soldier named Brian went back to his room. He turned on his camera. He was video calling his mom. He smiled, said goodnight, and then paused. Behind him, in the reflection of the window, he saw a face, one of the sisters, Celine, but when he turned around, no one was there. The lights flickered once, then turned off. Brian was never seen again. All that remained in his bed were his dog tags and a small black stain on the pillow. Back to Emily. The next morning, Dr. Rhodes woke up to find all her files deleted. Every blood test, every video, gone. She panicked. She went to the backup server. Also erased. Her hands shook. On her desk, someone had placed a small white flower. It wasn't there last night. Attached to it was a note. Please stop looking. Just let us in. Cliffhanger ending. Emily ran to the command center. But on the way, she passed by the common room. She froze. On the giant screen inside, the three sisters were standing, live, talking to the whole base. They were smiling. Lyra said, "We know some of you are afraid, but we only want peace." Nova added, "Let us be part of your life. We'll give more than we take." Celine finished, looking directly into the camera. "We'll work, we'll cook, we'll bond. Just let us in." And across the room, the soldiers clapped. Emily turned and ran, but in the hallway, she saw something that made her heart stop. Private Jenkins, the one whose leg had healed, was standing still. His eyes were silver. He smiled and whispered, "You're the only one left, Doctor." They bond, they learn, they copy start. The dream wasn't hers, but she was inside it. Dr. Emily Rhodes stood in a cold white room. A mirror stood in front of her. In the reflection, she saw herself, but it wasn't her. It was Lyra, smiling with her face. Behind the reflection, voices whispered, "You're already part of us." Emily woke up screaming. Sweat ran down her face. She looked at the clock. 3:33 a.m. Outside her room, everything was silent. Too silent. Plot. The base had changed. Slowly, strangely, people were happier. Kinder, more relaxed. As if something heavy had been lifted. The soldiers stopped asking questions. The scientists stopped running tests. Everyone just accepted the sisters. They didn't just walk among humans now. They blended in. They dressed like the soldiers. They joked like the crew. They even cried when a soldier was reported missing. Emotions are beautiful, said Nova softly. Humans taught us how to feel. Dr. Rhodes wasn't convinced. She tried talking to the base commander again, but Davis looked tired. His eyes were glassy. She's just paranoid, Solene told him sweetly. She doesn't want to bond. Emily watched him nod. Her heart sank. They were copying more than words now. They were copying trust. That night, Emily checked her files again. Still erased, but she had one backup, a voice recording she had hidden in her private device. She pressed play. It was a conversation from day 3. Soldier, so you can feel things now? Emotions? Lyra, we don't just feel them, we become them. Soldier, what do you mean? Lyra, long pause. We like the feeling of being loved. It makes it easier to enter. The audio cut out with a strange static. Emily backed away from the device. Meanwhile, in the main lounge, the sisters were holding a bonding session. Soft lights, calm music. Everyone gathered. They shared stories, laughed, even cried. One by one, people opened up. I feel safer since you came, said a young mechanic. I dream better now, said another. One by one, they became attached. An addicted. In the medbay, another doctor, Dr. Chun, noticed something strange too. He found that many soldiers had small black dots behind their ears. He scanned them. They weren't bruises. They were organic sensors, growing. He ran to tell Emily, but before he could speak, his nose started to bleed. He collapsed. His last words, they're inside the brain. Twist reveal. Emily connected the dots. The sisters weren't just pretending to be human. They were becoming copies of everyone's favorite emotions. Nova copied joy. Solene copied care. Lyra copied love. That's why people trusted them, because the sisters gave them exactly what they craved. Cliffhanger ending. Emily locked herself in the lab. She tried sending a warning to Earth Command. A coded message. Invasion not physical. It's emotional. Do not trust. Do not bond. As the message sent, the screen turned black. Behind her a voice said, You shouldn't have done that, sister. She turned. It was Solene. But this time Solene looked different. Her smile was wider. Her eyes darker, her skin shimmered. Emily stepped back. Solene whispered, We learn, we copy, we grow. And now, we take. He thought it was just a dream. Until he woke up saying her name. Private Nolan sat up in his bed, heart racing. He couldn't breathe. His mouth was dry. His fingers were shaking. He didn't remember going to sleep. But he remembered the dream, soft hands, glowing eyes, and the voice of Solene whispering, We're already in. Why fight it? He stood, walked to the mirror, and saw her standing behind him. But when he turned around, there was nothing, only silence. Only him. Plot: Dr. Emily Rhodes was running out of time. Every day, more people acted strangely. Not sick, not violent, but too calm, too quiet, as if their minds were resting. Somewhere else, they still laughed, they still smiled, but there was no light behind their eyes. And at night, she heard humming. A low, sweet hum that came from the rooms where the sisters stayed. Always the same melody. Always just loud enough to enter your dreams. Meanwhile, the sisters had started touching people more. Hugs, hand-holding, forehead kisses. And each time they touched someone, the person changed, not all at once. Slowly started sleeping more. Talking less. Remembering less. Lyra explained it kindly. We're healing their minds. It's a gift. Nova added, We take the pain and leave peace. But Emily saw the truth. They weren't healing. They were rewriting. A new kind of infection. She stole a device from the neural lab, one that could scan brain activity during sleep. That night, she placed it on her own head. As she fell asleep, the hum began, soft, inviting, pulling. In her dream, she was back in the white room. This time, hundreds of people stood with her, all smiling, all still. In front of them, the sisters stood in silence. Then Lyra stepped forward and said, "Now we enter." Emily woke up gasping. Her brain scan was off the charts, abnormal patterns, foreign signals. She wasn't just dreaming. They were using the dreams to enter minds. She realized the real invasion was not through weapons, but through emotions and dreams, through trust. The base changes. In the command room, the general smiled too much. In the labs, the lights flickered too often. And now, no one remembered Brian, or Dr. Chen, or the missing soldiers. As if the base itself was forgetting. Emily snuck into the medbay's deep archive. There, she found files that were supposed to be erased. Hidden copies. Photos of the sisters in other locations. Other bases. Other worlds. Same story. Same smiles. Same disappearances. She whispered, "They've done this before." Climax scene. Emily tried to gather the last 2 uninfected soldiers. She showed them the data. They believed her. Together, they made a plan. They would try to destroy the sisters' ship, still hidden deep in the desert. Maybe it held the source of their connection. But as they left the lab, they ran into Nova. She stood there, barefoot, smiling. "It hurts when you don't trust us," she said softly. "We came with love, and all we wanted was to bond." The 2 soldiers froze. They stepped forward, slowly, eyes wide, silent. Emily screamed, "Don't listen to her." But it was too late. They dropped to their knees. Eyes turned silver, smiling. Nova looked at Emily. "You're still fighting." "That's okay, we're patient." Cliffhanger ending. Back in her room, Emily locked the door. She opened her notes, typed one last line in her private journal. "They don't need ships. They don't need weapons. They just need a place in your heart." Suddenly, her computer shut off. A soft voice filled the room. "Sleep now, Emily. Let us in." The hum returned. And this time, she couldn't block it. The recording was only 10 seconds long. The voice was human, but not the words. Colonel Davis sat in front of the screen. His face was pale, eyes wide, hands shaking. He replayed the file again and again, not believing what he heard. A young soldier's voice, panicked. "She's inside my head. I can feel her walking around. Please." Then silence. Then Lyra's voice, calm and sweet. He was too loud. Then static. Davis didn't speak. He only stared at the screen, while behind him, the shadows moved. Plot, the base, had become quiet. Too quiet. People spoke less, smiled more, moved in perfect rhythm, like dolls in a stage play. And the sisters? They no longer pretended. Nova now walked the halls barefoot, eyes glowing silver. Lyra no longer blinked. Solene had stopped speaking altogether. She only watched. And everyone avoided her gaze. Dr. Emily Rhodes, still awake and fighting, stayed hidden in the lower levels of the base. She wore earplugs now, never slept more than 20 minutes. She drank black coffee and shook with exhaustion, because every time she fell asleep, they got closer. The turning point. Emily hacked into the mainframe. She played security footage from the night before. She saw Solene enter the command center. No weapons, no sound. She touched Colonel Davis's hand. He didn't resist. He smiled. 2 minutes later, he gave the base-wide order. "All outside contact is now restricted. From now on, we stay together." The base had become a hive, and the sisters were the queens. Infection spreads. One soldier, LT, Marcus, tried to escape the base. He made it 50 meters into the desert before collapsing. The cameras caught him clawing at his own head, screaming, "I hear them laughing. They're in the wind." Later, his body was found frozen in a kneeling position, eyes open, mouth smiling, just like the rest. Emily saw it all. "They're not just psychic," she whispered. "They're programming us." The attempt to fight back. Emily built a signal jammer, a pulse emitter that could block the frequency the sisters used to invade minds. She had one chance. She entered the comms room late at night, powered the device, and sent out a short blast. Suddenly chaos. Screams from the halls, lights flickering, blood pouring from the walls. Or was it just in her mind? The sisters responded instantly. Celine appeared in the doorway, eyes wide, mouth opening far too wide, like a flower blooming in reverse. The air turned cold. "You've heard us," she said, voice layered with many voices. "We said we'd be good girls, but you kept us out." The reveal. The sisters weren't alone. They were only the first wave, inside their minds. LIVED millions. A hive consciousness from the stars. A race that could not survive on their own, but could thrive inside others. They didn't want Earths, land or cities. They wanted its people, one by one. Mind by mind. Memory by memory. Cliffhanger ending. Emily crawled through the vents, her jammer broken, her hope fading. She reached her private lab, only to find a surprise. A child, a little girl sitting in the dark, smiling at her. She had Lyra's eyes. The girl whispered, "It's okay now, Doctor. We don't have to pretend anymore." Behind her, the walls pulsed, breathing like lungs. The base was no longer human. It was theirs. She stopped talking to herself 3 days ago, because now the base talked back. Every hallway whispered her name. Every wall breathed softly like lungs. Every shadow moved when she wasn't looking. Dr. Emily Rhodes had become the last true human in a place that once belonged to people. She no longer counted time in hours. She counted it in heartbeats and fear. Today, her heart was still. Because today, she was going to try and kill the sisters. Plot Kalan. Emily had found something deep in the system files, hidden beneath layers of erased logs. A fragment of alien code. A message in a digital language sent from the sisters' ship to their minds. It pulsed every 6 hours. A signal. A heartbeat. A hive-link. If she could block it, even just once, she might cut them off from the source. And maybe, just maybe, they would become weak enough to kill. She began building a pulse bomb in her lab, part EMP, part signal disruptor. It wouldn't destroy them, but it would silence them, long enough for her to strike. Meanwhile, Lyra walked through the base with bare feet and a soft song on her lips. She passed sleeping soldiers, all connected now, mentally fused into one network, a living memory hive. She touched a wall, and it responded with warmth. "Soon," she whispered, "she will join us too." Emily's allies. Somehow 2 others had survived. Corporal Riza, a tech expert who had blocked the mental signal using a broken hearing implant. Nurse Anea, who had been in a coma during the bonding phase and woke up untouched. They found Emily. They saw her plan. And they agreed. This was the last chance. They carried the bomb, heavy, humming, to the only place it could work. The alien ship still buried and untouched in the sand behind the base. The final walk. Night fell. The wind blew softly. The base behind them pulsed with alien light. The earth ahead was quiet, unaware. Riza carried the bomb. Xeno watched the skies. Emily led them toward the silver ship, but when they reached the crater, the ship was open, and waiting. Inside stood Nova, her skin cracked like porcelain. Her smile wider now. "You brought a gift," she said. "That's kind." Xeno raised her weapon. Nova didn't flinch. "We don't fear pain. We fear being alone again." Riza activated the bomb. The turn. The pulse exploded. A silent wave of energy rippling through the ship and the base. The lights went black. Far away, inside the hive, Screams echoed, loud and angry. The connection was broken. Emily ran forward. Knife in hand, she stabbed Nova straight in the chest. And for the first time, Nova screamed. But victory has a price. The other two sisters felt the rupture. Celine collapsed inside the base. Lyra screamed, a sound so sharp, the walls cracked. All across the base, soldiers fell to the floor. Disconnected, dazed. Human again. But something else woke up too. The sisters weren't alone. They were only scouts. The hive had many daughters. And now, Earth was loud again. The pulse bomb had been noticed. Cliffhanger ending. As Emily stepped out of the ship, bleeding and shaking, Aina held up a broken screen. It showed the sky. More ships were coming. Dozens, hundreds. Descending fast. Emily whispered, "We didn't stop the invasion. We only made them angry." The sky didn't fall. It opened. Across the world, people looked up. Not at warships, not at bombs, but at thousands of silver vessels, round, glowing, and silent, slowly lowering themselves into cities, fields, oceans, forests. No alarms, no attacks, just arrival. Every screen on Earth turned black. Then a voice, soft, clear, familiar, echoed everywhere. "We'll work. We'll bond. We'll be good girls. Just let us in." Plot: Dr. Emily Rhodes watched the broadcast from a shattered base window. Her hands bloody, heart heavy. Nova was dead. Celine was missing. Lyra had vanished after the signal broke. But now, the real invasion had begun. And it wasn't a battle. It was a question. Would humanity say yes? Would they open the door? Worldwide confusion. In New Tokyo, people gathered on rooftops, staring at the ships. In London, churches rang bells out of fear. In Nairobi, children waved at the glowing lights. And in New York, people listened. Because the voice wasn't threatening. It was warm, welcoming, perfect. Just like the sisters. Emily's realization, inside the base. Emily found Lyra. She wasn't glowing anymore. She looked tired, cracked. Dying. Lyra looked up at Emily and whispered, "We were not made to conquer. We were made to be needed." Emily stepped back. "You broke minds. You erased people." Lyra blinked slowly. "Not erased, improved. Safe, happy. Is that not what you want?" She reached out a hand, weak and shaking. "Let us finish the bond." The global decision. Governments fell silent. Military leaders froze. The choice was clear. Fight and likely lose. Or allow the sisters in and lose slowly. All they had to do was accept. The sisters didn't force. They didn't scream. They only asked. The final conflict. Emily stood before the last working satellite dish. She had one final signal to send, a message of warning, of memory, of resistance. But behind her, Celine appeared. Not angry, not monstrous, just calm. "You're alone," Celine said. "But you don't have to be." Emily's hands hovered over the keyboard. The sky was glowing brighter. She whispered, "Why Earth?" Celine stepped closer. "Because you were already broken. All we had to do was promise to love you." Climax choice. Emily pressed send. A short message shot into the stars. Do not answer them. Do not let them bond. They are the virus of peace. The ship above her shimmered. Everything went still. Ending option 1. Dark ending. The screen fades to black. We hear voices, not screaming, but singing. Then one final line, whispered by all three sisters in unison. Earth said yes. Ending option 2. Bittersweet resistance. The screen fades to static. Emily's voice comes through. Some of us will stay free. If you're hearing this, fight the feeling. Keep your mind your own. Do not let them in. Then silence. The earth keeps turning, but now it whispers.